in Australia and actually how to build a better life in this country, right? Because most of you guys have arrived here with big dreams, with a lot of work, a lot of commitment, and most of you, if not all of you, are already going through the hoops to, become permanent residents. Maybe some of you are already permanent residents. So the main question here is, what's next? What is the next challenge that you guys will have ahead of you? So it's time to change your financial results. That's the next step. You come in, you find a job, you get your sponsorship, you apply for a provisional visa, apply for a permanent visa, and then you settle. But what's next? You got to live the Australian dream. So we're going to push forward. Next slide, please.
Yeah. So that is.
Yep. So time to change your financial results. And tonight, guys, as I said, it's not about me. It's not about Bravo Migration. I want to introduce you to an amazing friend of mine, someone that I've known for more than 20 years in Australia. This guy has spoken to the parliament more than once, twice, three times? Three times. He's been on the cover of the CEO magazine, one of the biggest business magazines in Australia. And for those of you who are Brazilians, you probably have heard of his name, actually. He's been here for ages, for much longer than I have, actually, in Australia. And some people might even say that, when we arrived here, we had hair.
Yeah,
no beard.
Yes. Yeah, and we're skinny.
We're skinny.
You're
and
still
skinny. And skinny. So, guys, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Julio De Lafitte. This guy will be running this presentation tonight with a bit of my help as well.
Man, I wanna share the night with you. I want to talk about it. So, guys, we are in the studio. We have some other people helping us out here. If you have questions, have no mercy. Send us the questions. The text box is there for that. I got Mavu here, Pedro, Uzer, and we have a great team here. My friend, thank you so much for putting this together tonight. So we were invited to speak in Parliament about the future of the Australian economy because we have created some serious multimillionaires in Australia.
Wow.
So when I was in Brazil and I was 18 years old, and if you said to me, Julio, you're going to go to Australia and you're going to show the Australians how to become rich in their own country, I'll be going like, how is that? How is that possible? So guys, the work has been so deep. It's been so grateful that we even became cover of the CEO magazine because of that very work. But Michelle, as you and I spoke about before we started filming, guys, when I arrived in Australia, I noticed a few things as an immigrant coming here. And some people noticed that very early on, some people a little later, is access to money in Australia in comparison to most countries in the world. It's extremely easier. Extreme is the word. Now, I understand that if you're inside of the Australian context only, yes, it is getting harder. That's true too. But that's what put me at a play in my life where when I noticed that money in Australia was much easier to get. So just for context, and we want to bring this whole thing in just over an hour, right? So we're planning to finish around 7:10, I know around there. But just for context, if people are just getting to know me for the first time, the whole idea of this conversation was this. As an immigrant, not only you have to learn the language, you have to learn the rules, you have to learn a bunch of things. But I grew up in Brazil, and when I arrived in Australia, right? Inflation in Australia was 12% when I arrived here.
Wow.
And interest rates had been as high as 18%. But now they were down to 12% in coming down. So I came here in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s is when I arrived, right, in Australia. Now, people were afraid of the future now. They were really afraid. But to young Julio, inflation in Brazil at the time was 200%. So when the Australians told me the inflation here was 18%, I thought, oh my God, How did you get it this good? But everything is context, right? So
Yeah.
if you go from 200 to 18, you think I'm on a winner, no?
Yeah.
But to the Australians, that was dramatic, right? Next thing, Michelle, for me, is that interest rates in Australia. So very early, learning the new language, and I started talking to people, hey, what's the price of money here?
Yeah.
And people do not know what I'm talking about. So I had to learn to say, what is the interest rates? If I want to borrow some money, how much I have to pay back. Now, guys, this set me into a path that before I arrived, I could have never imagined. And here's a distinction I want you to take home from the offset. If you have immigrated to Australia, this is the biggest distinction you get tonight, is this. When they told me that interest rates were 12%, I swear to you, Michelle, I thought it was 12% per month. Why did I think that?
Which is what we had in Brazil back in the day. Yes.
So guys, check this out. Where I come from, if you borrowed 100,000, you have 30 days to show up with 12,000 to pay the interest only. But in Australia, I had the whole year to do so. It was like, oh my God, how good is that? So tonight, what I want to do tonight is this. We're going to give you the equivalent of give or take 100 hours worth of reading. See, if you are here tonight, it's because you want to get ahead, right? And so it's been 30 years doing JDL strategies. JDL stands for Just Do Life Strategies, right? So what we will do here tonight is this. You will notice that I spoke in Parliament. I have spoken most TV channels in Australia, Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, you call it. We have created a platform full of education. And tonight, the intention for tonight is for you to know what is going on. And I go from that assumption, brother. When I got here, people were afraid for tomorrow. Yes. When I first arrived, there's a bit of that sense now. There's a bit of uncertainty now, right?
And can I just butt in as well and take this opportunity for this public particularly, guys, how does that resonate to you? It's absolutely no different than when you first set foot in this country and decided, okay, I want to stay. So the hoops are exactly the same. The first is the interest, like, okay, I want to stay here. Then comes the educational piece, right? Which is exactly what's happening tonight. And it's exactly what we're trying to deliver to you here. Get educated, understand the steps, understand the ins and outs. And from there, start making educated decisions about the next steps, right?
Exactly right.
Right.
So when you talk about bravo, and the word bravo in Portuguese means courageous, right? It means like the one who will take on the wind in the face and do the trail, like go up the mountain, right? I really appreciate that in so many ways. So we are very brave people, because if we came to a new country, we have to leave everything behind. Tonight is about me consolidating all this conversation. So our mission as a business is to raise in real terms the financial intelligence and its applications to all Australians, old and new, right? So you asking me before, the majority of my clients are Australian born, like 90% of them. But now, over the last 10 years, 15 years, many of the new Australians are now having their equity, starting to have some cash, want to understand how to minimize their taxes, and so on. And thus, we're here tonight, right? But let's just push forward. I want to have an agreement with you that basically goes like this. If you are here tonight, it's because you want to get ahead, correct?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah. All right. If that's what that's what we're gonna go. So what we will deliver is to you is concepts around debt reduction. Okay. What is debt? Increase your financial freedom. Yeah. There's a reality where you work for your money, and another reality is your money works for you. And these are just internal dialogues or software. So we're going to help you to build lasting wealth for real, not pie in the sky, not BS, right? We're going to minimize your tax legally. Now, for those of you that are just just meeting me for the first time, please write this down. Minimizing your tax is your legal right. Write it down. Minimizing your tax is your legal right. In other words, the government has a set of rules. You follow the rules. You challenge the rules. There is no need to do anything dodgy, weird. There is no need. Now, we understand that over the last 20 years, the advance of AIs and computers and all of that stuff, all the so-called loopholes are gone, right? Gone. However, the name of the company is Just Do Life Strategies. There are real strategies that you can minimize your tax properly, effectively, and above all, above the law. So there are no shortcuts here. There's no weirdness. Everything is to a point of creating real, lasting wealth, right? So to create for you true financial independence. That okay? That's where we're gonna go.
Fair enough.
So now, if you and I were at an airport, right, and we bumped into each other, and you said to me, Julio, how do I get rich? Let's just say you're about to hop on your flight, and I'm about to hop on mine, and we had 2 minutes, and I had to summarize this whole concept. How do you get rich? And oh man, we have 2 minutes. Okay, let me give it to you this way: or you are accumulating capital, or you're not. So listen up. Or you are accumulating capital, or you are not. The beautiful part about Australia is you can choose to do so, right? So this is pure software. So how do I get rich? Or you are accumulating capital, or you are not. Now, I'm going to deliver for you maybe 3 or 4 books in all these concepts, but I'm just going to give you entire books on slides. So this book, this slide that you're seeing right now about the arrows, is a multitude of books, and I just said, how would I summarize this? So you need to put those 3 things together, okay? Minimizing your tax legally is your right. We already covered that. Getting rid of debt is extremely important. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to get rid of your debt in ways that most people don't even consider, and to increase your assets. Now, welcome to Australia. How many houses can you own in Australia? How many businesses can you own in Australia, right? So how many bars of gold? How much can I increase my asset, right? So if we have those 3 arrows working, I'm increasing my assets, I'm decreasing my tax legally, and then I get rid of debt. Now I'm going to put to you as a mental sequence, okay? I told you about the software, where you're accumulating capital, you're not. I'm going to give you another piece of the software. It goes like this. In Australia, if you do this right, and I will give you lots of it tonight, the more you invest, the less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. Hear me out. The more you invest, less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. So if, Michelle, I have an investment that I know is going to cause me to get some tax back, and I use that tax that I got back, and I throw at my personal debt, guess what? The banks are going to lend me more money. To do what? To invest. And then what happens? I get more tax back. Oh, really? And if I get, and so it's not simplistic, because if it was, everybody would be doing it. So again, let's talk about Pareto rule.
Yep.
Okay, guys, for those of you that are here, if you were to ask, okay, 5 people in your life in Australia that are important to you, parents and kids do not count. So we're talking about a good friend, people that influence your life. Ask 5 of your closest friends, right? How much money are you making? If they were able to disclose, you just add it up. So 5 friends, add it up and divide it by 5. There is your wage within 5 to 10%. Why? Because we are a product of our conversations, okay? So this is where we're gonna go. Tonight is about your freedom in Australia to accumulate assets. Those will have tax implications, debt implications, and we're gonna cover all of it. Yeah?
Fair enough.
Fair enough? So the more you invest, less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. The less debt, the more you invest. Now,
can I butt in
absolutely.
again?
Of course. You can just drink some water.
Right, yeah. So one thing that I think it's really important, even because of the public, right? We use a lot of the word, rich and having a lot of wealth and this and that. And what I feel, Julius, sometimes people that just go like, but man, I just arrived in the country. I don't think this is for me.
That is for you.
Yeah, but
Now is the
that's
time.
I know, but the main thing is that I think that, and I know that you're gonna cover this, but just so you guys start, aligning your mentality here as well. Yes, we talk about all these big numbers, but the reality is you start little and then
Yeah.
you build up, and
As a
anyone
matter
can
of
do
fact,
it really.
you know what? I'm going to go somewhere in this presentation because of this. This is a great segue. I'm going to use this slide here and we're going to go there.
Yep.
Okay? So now we're going to finish at 7:15. 5 minutes, right? So Pedro's looking at me going,
It's a lot to cover. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's talk about being a new immigrant, right?
Mhm.
So I arrived in Australia. I spoke very little English, but I married an Australian girl. So basically, then I actually, as a new immigrant, I got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Right? I got 2 jobs, and so we made a deal. We live on your income, honey, and we'll save both of mine. And so we did. So all we did was inside of her income. And I said, and I got 2 jobs, man. I worked seriously 80 hours a week. Happy to do so.
Yep.
And I saved all this money. And like it was then, and still now, the governments will always give concessions to people that are young, that want to buy the new home, the first home. So stamp duty discounts, easier finance, blah, blah. So I bought my first house, right, 14 months after arriving. Why? Because I had a distinction. And the distinction has to do with this slide you're looking at right now. And I'm going to cover it and tell my story, all right? Here's the deal. Most people, Michelle, match their income to their expenses. So if you tonight you are on 50 grand, you will spend 50 grand. You take it to 75, you spend 75.
Yes.
How long does it take for you to get rid of a pay rise? 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Honey, we're going on a holiday.
Yes.
I got a pay rise. We're going to buy a car. But that is people.
Yeah.
That is software inside of humankind. So people always matching. And even now, we have clients that come in, a husband-wife team, they're on 200 grand a year, combined, and they spend all of it, right? Why? Because it's almost like the system is designed that way. So the biggest distinction for me was that I got money to work for me, right? So I was getting out of the hypnosis like that. So guys, tonight is the one challenge is this. We will give you insights tonight. We'll give you a software that you'll be able to see what your numbers are doing for you. But in 30 years doing that, what I want you to know is most people get the distinction of money working for them around their 46th birthday, right? We'll cover that in detail. So most people match their income to their expenses. They are genuinely confused between lifestyle and wealth. So what actually happened for me was I worked. We saved a little bit of deposit and we bought a house. What actually happened was the last moment, just before we were about to move in, we met another couple. And with that couple, we rented a house close to the university, right? And we shared the rent in that house, much better house than the house I bought. And I rented my house out. Little did I know that that was going to be the best financial decision I have ever made. But then, Michelle, I had momentum because I was already working 2 jobs and I bought that house. And after the recession comes the boom. After the boom comes the recession. After the recession comes the boom.
Boom again.
And because I was just coming off the recession, that property starts to rise, starts to go up in value, right? So a year later, I bought another house. Do you know why?
Tell us.
Because
That's
they
why
let
we're
me. You little immigrant, can't speak English. But the point is, I carried on saving all this money. Like I was trying. So the house got up in value. On 14 months, I bought a house. Another 12 or maybe another 14 months later, I was able to manage to buy my second house. Now, this is a very important part to do with tax minimization. And here we go. This is extremely important. Michelle, I was in the country almost 3 years. I was at a barbecue and somebody said to me, have you lodged your tax return? And I swear to you, I was thinking new words.
3 years
New-
in.
3 years. And you're
in.
like, have you lodged your tax return? And I'm like, now observe distinctions when you're doing the best. I was very young. I was in my early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Because you see, I was under the impression, okay, that my boss paid my tax. I was already understood gross and net, and I got my money and my tax was taken care of. And I thought, okay. But when somebody said to me, have you lodged your tax return? I'm thinking, what's that? And the Australians with the way they speak, this is, have you seen the tax man? And I was very literal. No, like, does he come to the house? Like, huh? And I went to see an accountant. Guys, this is the distinction that made me a multi-millionaire. And this is key. Maybe I tell this story and the presentation is done. Maybe this is it. For all of you, because Michelle said, if you've been here a few years, if your kids are Australians, this story makes incredible impact in people's lives. Because what actually happened for me was, right, I went to see an accountant. And the accountant asked me, so who are you? Oh, I have 2 jobs. Oh, you pay more tax on your second job? I did not know that. Really? Yeah. Okay, what else? Oh, it's my wife. She has a job too. And we have 2 properties. And the guy looked at me like, oh, you bought 2 houses? Yeah. Now, they're not luxurious houses. They were the cheapest houses we could buy, right, at the time. But then he said to me the following. He said, which one of them do you live in? And I said, no, I rent them both. Guys, this is when the guy said to me, there's incredibly different rules. There are different rules for if you own a house and if you rent the house. Completely different rules. So what do you mean? Because you don't live in these houses, we're going to depreciate them. And the mortgage is tax deductible. The cancel rates, the insurance, everything's tax deductible. Why? Because it sits in a different set of rules called investment rules. Guys, if you get this, I lodged my tax return. And my accountant then depreciated those 2 houses, claimed all my interest repayments, and my cancel rates, my insurance, Michelle, 6 weeks later, I got a check for $3,000. To young Julio, that was so much money. It was so much money. It would be like, give or take 20 grand tonight, right? Give or take, right? I was like, whoa. And I swear to you, I just carried on my life. The following year, I went back to the accountant. I lodged my tax return, and I got another check. I swear to you guys that are watching, I thought that was going to be a one-off. I really did. And then my accounts, you see how the information, the knowledge comes in bits, right? In little pieces. When I got again, he says, this is going to go on for 40 years. I called my father and I said, Dad, this is happening. You know what my father said? Get out. It's a scam. It's a scam. They're trying to trap the foreigners. They're trying to trap the new, it's a scam. I said, Dad, I'm in an accountant's office. He's lodging my tax return. He's licensed, So guys, I could not sleep because I was trying to calculate when could I drive the tax I was paying to 0 if I bought another house. So I kept working and I bought my 3rd house, maybe 5 years in Australia. Yeah. By the time I had my 5th house, I paid almost no tax. But then something else happened. The boom really flourished. The houses went up in value, but so did rent. The houses became cash flow positive, and that all added back to my income now. Boom, I got a tax problem again. You know what? Buy another house.
Another house.
We're going to go into that. We're going to go into that tonight. Now, all I want to do now is digress back here to say, if you are matching your income to your expenses at the age 46, we're going to talk about you in a moment, right? You're going to always be looking for a pay rise in order to improve your life. And this is producing this result. The majority of people that show up at our offices here, I heard about you, my accountant sent me to you, my friend sent me to you. The person is a 46-year-old with a house around 1.1 million. Get this, with a $590,000 mortgage. Why do you have over $500,000 worth of mortgage? It's fascinating when you ask this question to people, how come you have a $500,000 mortgage? Very rarely, Michelle, I get conversations like this. Because we're hypnotized to do so.
Just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
My friend has it, my mother has it, my teacher has it, like everybody's like, okay. So debt reduction has to come in and we will go there. So now, if you are 46 years of age, and you still have a mortgage, those numbers, baby, are producing a result. And I don't want you to find out that result in 20 years from now. How good would it be if you knew that result tonight? And not only that, what if you could alter your path and have a much better result? That's where we're going to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, the average Australian. So, Julio De Lafitte from Volta Redonda. Volta Redonda. It's a small town in the state of Rio. And when you translate to English, you say, turn around. Turn around, right? So, if you come here and you're 46, have a house, you'll be saying, that's what everybody's doing. I know. And this is going to produce a result. So let me give you the wealth permission for most people you know, and I'm glad you're here. The majority of people that we know, okay, the only wealth they will have is their home. So the permission for wealth is to one day own the biggest possible house. That's the permission. Now, I said a moment ago, how many houses can you own in Australia? As many as you want. And because the mortgage in your own house is so heavy, most people, when they think about borrowing money to buy another house, they go almost into fear because you see, they haven't had the distinction that this is this and that is that. The mortgage in their own home is heavy. The mortgage in a property investment is light. What do you mean is light? You have the tenant and the ATO carrying most of the weight. Ooh. And this is where we're going to go. So most people, and I'm so glad you're here tonight, because most people, what they want to do is educate the children and pay the house off. That's what people want to do, right?
And just before you proceed as well, Julio, and for full disclosure here, guys, this is a conversation that Julio and I had many, many, many years ago, right? So we're just kind of repeating the conversations we've had throughout the years and how it all started and our relationship, and move on with the presentation. But I'm just saying it's just coming back all over again.
I think the conversation really is. Let me go this way. It's very common for me, Michelle. I meet people and they say, I saw you presenting 5 years ago. I saw you presenting 10 years ago. Well, what have you done? Oh, I'm still doing this or doing that. It wasn't for us. My wife didn't believe in it. My husband didn't believe in it. Okay. So again, I'm very happy you're here because your numbers have no feelings. You do. Your numbers have no feelings. You do. Right? So without any further ado, let's keep pushing this.
Yep.
Hey guys, for those of you that are home right now, would you type in the text for me on the text box there? I'm going to ask you a question. How much tax did you pay last year? Can we just see this? We have a couple platforms here. We are on YouTube. We are in, I see another one here. Hey, yeah, too much, right? That's the answer. That's one answer. Too much. I don't know. Too much. I don't know. Yeah. Guys, if you to translate in time, the amount of dollars you paid in tax last year for the average Australian, if you make 100 grand and you pay 27,000 in tax, 23 to 27 depends. Then you work 3 to 4 months for the government. Does it make sense? So that is your tax in time right now. This is it. So again, when we talk about tax minimization is your right, is when you understand now in my personal story, is when I thought, if I buy the third house, I'm not going to pay any tax because my account's going to claim 3 houses against my income. But then I bought my 4th house, and then I bought my 5th house. And that's why we call it a chain reaction. So trying to understand, like all the changes now in superannuation, all the changes in self-managed super funds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it is your right to ask the right questions. Cool? So now I'm going to go to the next book, if you will. I want to talk to you about debt. We talked a moment now saying a 46-year-old shows up here with $500,000 worth of debt. I want to tackle that. And I'm about to give you 5 books on debt reduction. If you went to the library, if you downloaded, got ChatGPT to give you a summary, I'm going to give it to you, no spades, and you will be able to teach to your children tonight how debt actually works. First distinction, no bank lends money. That's a lie. Banks sell money. So if you went to the bank and rather than say, hey, can I borrow some money? What's the interest rates? You might as well say, can I buy some money? What's the price? Yeah. Right? So what I want you to understand now is, imagine right now that you paid your house off. So everybody's in the same page, right? You paid your house off for argument's sake. I just want to bring everybody to a set of numbers so we can build it from there. So imagine you paid your house off, and then you looked at the backyard and says, you know what, honey, let's put a swimming pool here. Summer's coming, we're going to put a pool. So you call the builder, call the pool guy, and the guy says, yeah, $100,000, we'll put a pool here. Okay. So you go into the bank and you say, hi, I want to borrow $100,000. See, Johnny at the bank is going to punch a bunch of numbers, check some of your documentation, and he says to you, look, if you take a 25-year term on this loan, it's $772. Now, Michelle, most people you and I know, the moment you tell them the $772 number, they already made up a decision.
Yeah.
700. So husband-wife team, they look at each other, wife and wife team, husband and husband team. They look at each other and they go, oh, $772. Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
We have that. Yeah. We can do that. Notice that there is no spreadsheet. There's no calculator. It's a feeling we can afford 700, and they will make the decision, sign the paperwork. Let's now have a look what you just signed. By law, every bank in Australia, all financial institutions have to disclose to you the cost of the money in its entire life. So if you go right now to any of the major banks in Australia and you do a mortgage calculator, you notice it's not on the first screen. You have to roll down, but it is there by law, and they will tell you the total cost of that loan. For a $100,000 loan, after 25 years, you will pay back $231,000. Everybody knows. It's the interest component. All right. Now let's have a look at this. For those of you that are here with me for the first time, this is now a graph. 25 years is the baseline, time is the baseline. The price or the cost of the money is $100,000, and you can see the money starting to come down. Yeah? The debt starts to come down, right? Another thing that I'd like to ask you for answers on the text right now is this. How come in the first 10 years, the debt's coming down very slowly? What's going on? Anyone? What's your inclination? What's your intuition say? Let's do the numbers, shall we? The numbers have no feelings. Here we go. So in the first year, you pay the bank back $9,262, but you're only good for $1,300. 5 years later, you paid $46,000, but you're only good for $7,000. No. Yeah. Now, when you have a look at this, 10 years in this game, you paid back $92,000, but you're only good for less than 20. Now, I want you to know that at this moment, let's just say you walk into the bank and you say, I want to see the bank manager. Something is not right. Hey guys, I paid you $92,000. How come I'm only good for 20? What's going on? So if I was to kind of close the debt here, I have to give you 80 grand? Yeah. right, that's when you're going to hear for the first time in your life two words going together: interest component. So basically, what the bank is saying is, when I lent you the money, Michelle, you are the risk. We took the house as collateral, but you are. So what we're going to do is charge you the interest, most of the interest first, and then the principal. So if we go then back all the way home there, you see 25 years later, you pay 231 to pay your 100 grand. But now I want to show you something that is really scary inside of people's software, in their heads, okay? Tell me, guys, feel free to type here again. We have a couple other platforms tonight open. So if you're here tonight via Instagram, please write on your comments as well. Facebook, write on yours as well. Zoom, write on yours. I want to hear from different people, right? Now, check this out. Check this out, okay? What do people do after living in their house for 10 years? What do people do normally? Husband-wife teams.
They have children.
Yeah,
they
no,
buy a bigger house.
A bigger house. There you go. Boom. Remember, people match their income to expenses.
Yes.
So
yes.
10 years later, it's not like this, but it's almost it is. Honey, you make a lot more money. That's right. So do you. We must buy a bigger house.
Yeah.
Why? Because we can afford the repayments. And that is the wealth creation protocol that doesn't work. Now check this out. Your grandmother did it, your father did it, your mother did it, your best friend did it, your math teacher did it. It doesn't mean it's the best thing to do, does it?
And butting in as well, when I spoke to Julio the first time, his first question to me was, how much do you love your house?
Yeah. Yeah. that.
Why, Julio? Have you considered selling it?
No, yeah, move out, rent it out.
Right.
But again, guys, it's just numbers. That conversation not for everybody. It gets worse if I was to say to you, when do you pay for your mortgage? The answer is after tax. So let's do the numbers now like never before. The slide's coming up again here now. Have a look at this. What happens then is this. If you borrowed $100,000, and you paid back 231 for that 100, yep. To have 231 in your pocket, yes, you gotta have to have earned 356,000, paid 124 in tax, to have the 231, and the only thing you meant to do was to borrow 100 grand. So if you show up in my life, and I'm so glad you're here. If you showed up in my life and you told me you have a $500,000 mortgage, all I'm gonna do is to ask you, to multiply all those numbers times 5. Then you're gonna know your own numbers. So you would be having to earn $1.5 million. Well, it's okay. It's gonna take 20 years, 25 years to do so.
Yeah.
Right? Pay $600,000 in tax, to have the compounding interest, and the only thing you thought is that you owe the bank 500. No, you don't owe the bank 500. The cost of the money is really real. So I want first takeaway for tonight. If you got nothing out of tonight, or you have to go right now, never do what the bank tells you to do. If the bank tells you to pay $100, pay $120. If they tell you to pay $200, always pay more. Why? Because that little extra goes into the principal, right? Now, just to close the loop, we have a lot of terrain to cover tonight. This is the game. The more you invest, the less tax you pay. So by me not having a personal debt, and we're going to go there now deeper, a lot of people are going to go, oh my God, Michelle, thank you so much. They will see the distinction now, because I had other people paying for my assets. I had the tenant and the ATO, but I owned 100% of it, right? So guys, this is this slide right now. And now, just for the sake of time, I want to go somewhere here. We're going to fly to this presentation. Michelle and I were talking about this. We don't want to spend a lot of time. We have a bunch of slides, but we just want to summarize like this. You live in an island. Let's talk about net migration, shall we?
Let's talk about the fundamentals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion happening, and I'm pretty sure everyone here is watching the news and so forth. And as Julio mentioned as well, we have highs and lows. We have, the periods of boom, and then we have the periods of correction and all of that. But the situation is this, and that this comes from, my expertise, Julio, butting in here on the conversation. Net overseas migration, guys. For all of you here who, again, are our clients or have dealt with us in the past, the reality is this: the government is trying to manage the number of people coming in versus the people going out. But as much as they manage that, that number still outpaces the number of new dwellings being built by at least three times.
Yeah.
Meaning what? If we have 190,000 people coming in every year, net, meaning more 200, let's round it up to 200,000 coming in than leaving, we're building around 50 to 60,000 dwellings a year. You still have a big gap there.
Guys, it's simple. The maths is very simple. All right, let's go. Australia is going to go to 30 million people. 11 to 15 years, so they say, right?
Whether Albo likes it or not.
Yeah.
Or One Nation, for that matter.
And the
right?
truth is, we're not producing enough babies.
No.
So people arrive through migration. They arrive through birth as well. So we're not producing enough babies, right? And what's actually happening then is, if we don't have enough people, we don't have an economy, right?
That's it, yeah.
So if I live in an island, and when you look at the numbers, the catch-22 is, if I don't bring enough people, my economy will halt. If I bring enough people, I don't have enough houses. And the catch-22 is this: Australia, it would be very hard for Australia to go to a 10% unemployment. And if unemployment went from 4 to 8%, it'll be news. People will be crying and upset. But even if it went to 10%, what that means is that out of 10 people, 9 is going to work. The teacher will teach. The dentist will fix the teeth. Life will be happening.
Yeah.
But what actually happens with our reality is that we need skilled people.
Yeah.
And we're going to import them. So then it doesn't matter how you look at the trend, the demand for houses are greater than the supply. End of story. End of story. I don't care what we're going to say. The moment we fix the amount of houses being built, then we may have another conversation. Just to close the loop now, here's the reality when you look at this, is this: the tenant will pay for 50% of the bills. The office, the tax office may pay 35, 47% of the bills. Let's just say you're left with 15% of the bills you got to pay, but you own 100% of the asset. Ooh. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the distinction when I asked this guy how much you like your house. So the question has to do with the amount of debt against your house. Now, your numbers have no feelings. I'm so glad you're here, because if you like or dislike what we are saying, it doesn't matter. Your numbers will produce a result, and you might as well know and stop living in la land. Because everybody does it doesn't mean it's right. You have to do what's right for you. So now, for the sake of time, we're going to try to finish this at 7:15, as I said before. What I want to do right now is I want to show you the entire system. If you're in your computer and your laptop at home, take a screenshot right now, okay? A screen print. And if you're on your phone, take a screen. This is it. This is it. I want you to get a screenshot of this, print this, and put in your bathroom beside the mirror. When you're getting ready in the morning, you're looking at this picture. So let me summarize this whole thing for you. If you already have a house, all right, or dream to buy a house, whatever, that house is the one with the circle. We're going to protect that house and drive the debt down against that house as fast as we can. That's where the debt reduction is going to go. You pull equity out of that house and you buy another house. Do you know why? Because they're going to let you. The next house, somebody else is paying for it, mostly the tenant and the ATO, as we explained. And then all the money that you get back from the ATO, we drive the debt on your own home, okay, down. We're going to go into the numbers a bit more specific in a moment. But then the moment time goes by, the rents will increase, the equity in the houses will increase. The moment you can go again, you pull equity out of those two houses and you buy the third one. You do not buy the third one until you can afford it. And you need to have all sorts of provisions. Like what's the interest rates? What if the interest rates went up? What if it didn't rent? You got to do all these calculations. Here is in principle.
Yeah.
But the wealth goal will show you exactly what you can do. Okay. So guys, houses that buy houses, once those houses go cash flow positive. So in other words, I bought a house in Brisbane a few years back for $450,000. That property tonight is worth $1 million. That property puts in my pocket $300 a week. Okay. I can just buy $300 worth of shares every week. So I never bought a shares. That house is buying the shares.
Yeah.
That's the third house here. Okay. You understand the analogy, right? Let's keep going. So when people say to you, how rich do you want to be? Like, how rich do you want to be? Okay. So guys, what happens right now as far as how rich do you want to be is people say, oh, $1 million, $10 million, I want to be this much rich, I want to do this, I want to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's not pie in the sky stuff. Let me give you some constructive direction. If your kids are off your hand and your house is paid for, how much money do you need to live? Oh, Julio, if I don't have my kids, my house paid for, 100 grand a year? Well, for every 50,000, you need $1 million outside your home. So if you say, I want to live on 100 grand a year, if I don't have a mortgage or kids, right? $2,000 a week should be fine. Then you want to be $2 million rich outside of your home.
Yep.
I want to live on 3 grand a week. Okay. So you can just start doing the calculations.
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering. Yeah. Off we go. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is this. I am going to get off this presentation right now. Okay. My team is going to put this link in there for you. I am just going to, I'm going to copy this link here now. And I'm now going to show you quickly. Now, Pedro says to me all the time, Julio, people think you're trying to sell a software. No, he doesn't speak in that voice. So forgive me, Pedro. He's harsher than that. He's tough on me. He goes, Julio, people think you're trying to sell a software, rah, rah. And I go, no, man, I just want people to, guys, if you can see what's happening now, this is JDL Strategy legacy. What you're looking at me do right now is this. This is why I spoke in Parliament. This is why, Michelle asked you to come here. This is why accountants tell people to go here. So what I'm going to do here right now is I'm going to bring up case study. Watch me go. Okay. What if JDL Strategies were to give you now 10 hours, I'm not exaggerating, okay, worth of consulting in less than 3 minutes? No way. Yes way. So check this out just really quickly. And by the way, guys, this is designed for you to work with your accountant. So the way that the links work is you can work with your spouse, work on your own, share it with your accountant, financial advisor, broker. Check this out. So he's John. He's on $138,000. Yeah. Anna, his wife, is on $68,000. Yeah. They have 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Okay. They have $150,000 saved. It's not $150,000 sitting under the mattress. It's 150 grand sitting on the offset account. Got it. Okay. Now they have this much money here in Super 200. It's just numbers. I'm getting very boring because I was going from theory to numbers now. The point is, what if I was able to press one button? And here's the home. Okay. They have a house worth 1.1 million and they owe 345. So now we know, we want to get rid of the debt on that property. Check this out. The moment the software goes, as I said to you before, it is designed for you to work with your accountant. Now, we have also training. JDL has been around for 30 years. We have plenty of training to give to the accountants, and we can share that with you. We teach accountants across Australia how to help their clients to become wealthy. Nonetheless, back to what we're looking at, that is, John, welcome to Australia. Like most Australians, you're going to have $2.3 million by the time you retire. But what John told us, look at this. He told us he wants to retire on $150,000 a year. That is 150 grand. Guys, I've been saying all along, your numbers have no feelings. You do. And this is the part of the presentation. We start to go into numbers and people start to go like, whoa, I want to ask you to stay with me. Because in 18 years, he's going to need $316,000 to buy what $150,000 cost tonight. So the goods and services that would cost tonight 150 grand, in 18 years is going to cost him 316. Oh, this thing is called inflation. Oh. So what happens then is, John, you run out of money in 7 years. Keep doing what you're doing. And this is when people start to look at their lives 10 years before retirement and they start freaking out, right? So then you have to work longer. You have no financial independence. Now, what if I was able...
Can I just interrupt you for a
yeah.
second here as well, Julio? And guys, I think this is particularly important to you, right? Because as Julio explained as well at the beginning of this presentation, he deals with a lot of Australians that were born here that, you know, started early. Some of them started later, as you said, 46, but
50.
50.
55.
But the thing is, you guys have an opportunity here to start because most of you, I could be wrong here, guys, but I believe that most of you are still under 40, right? You still have time ahead of you. And most importantly, you guys have the discipline. Because everything that, you know, the Julio is putting forward in terms of numbers here, right? He's showing up. The guy already owns a $1 million property. Might not be the case for you right now. But the reality is this. These guys, they have the discipline, right? And I need to say this now before you continue so I don't forget later on. One of the biggest mistakes, and we've had this conversation before, one of the biggest mistakes that I see clients from a financial perspective, and guys, mind you, I'm not a financial advisor. That's why, you know, have Julio here presenting and giving all this amazing work for you here. But the reality is this, biggest mistake, you guys work so hard to save so hard to pay for the ridiculous fees that the government charges to get you a permanent visa, right? Once you get the permanent visa, first thing that you do, you change your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you double your lifestyle. And that goes back to what you were saying
Matching
before
your income
about
to
matching,
expenses.
right?
Yeah.
And this is where you guys have to continue to be disciplined. And that's where all this conversation right now with this software, it's so important to you. It doesn't matter if you already own a $1 million house. I think that's the point that I was trying to get. You can still project how your life is going to be with this.
Look,
and the earlier they start, the better.
Yes,
that's my point.
The point of the whole thing is this: your numbers have no feelings.
Yeah.
And most people have no idea how they're going to land. So this is the legacy of JDL Strategies. Is a software that no one is trying to sell you anything, push you anything. You can work with your accountant. The assumptions are all in the front of you and the base, and there is no more not knowing. Watch this couple. They can buy a property investment right now. Do they know it? Let me just cut to the chase here and show you this. If they were to buy this property investment, the software will just already calculate the tax tables. Check this out. I'm just going to go to the chase here and show you this. So the yellow is the tenant. So the tenant would pay 60% of the bills. The ATO would pay 33.8, 34% of the bills. They would have to pay 6% of the bills, 5.6%. No, yeah. But they own 100%, 100% of the asset. No further ado, most people ask me, oh, what if they take away negative gearing? So that is. There's no, if they took away negative gearing, the question is, would you still do it? Yes, you would. Because inflation alone in Australia would give you 4.5% return on this asset. I'm not going to cover the numbers here right now. But bottom line is, if you have the government and the ATO, $54 a week, Without the ATO, 382. In most countries in the world, you don't have the ATO.
Yeah.
And people still invest in real estate. So here is the conversation, right? So, brother, I just want to show you something so we can carry on. Imagine if you had a situation where you can go here and press one button, and the software is just going to go ahead and calculate all the houses you can buy. Look, these guys will be worth $5.3 million. Bottom line, if they decided to invest $54 per week. Hold on a second, Julio. Now, whoa. That's too good to be true. No. You saw the circle. We pull equity out of your own home. We buy the first property investment. We have the other people paying for it. And then we go, the cash flow is already analyzed. And it's designed for you to give it to your accountant and say, is this guy for real? It's all here designed. And then a lot of accountants, your accountant will look me up and I'll say, let me give you my training for accountants. That's how we became so successful. That's how we cut to the chase. Now we have a multimillionaire in the make. I just want to show this because now it's showing off just a little bit. I got to go back to the presentation. Most people at this point say, oh, this is beautiful. This is fantastic. Can I please run it by my account? I need to. Look, you can press one button and all the accounting is done. No, yeah, all the numbers your account would do. I can even tell you right now how much he will get back from the ATO and how much she would go back from the ATO. So between those two guys, they would get back $17,000 back from the ATO. That 17 grand straight into the mortgage. It goes off the principal.
Yes.
The debt reduction here becomes beautiful. Can I have some hearts? So if you are liking this, can I see some thumbs up? If you're enjoying this, let me just go back to the presentation because I'm starting to run out of time. My people are saying, hey man, how many more slides have you got to go? So let me go back to the presentation.
But I need, while you do that, I'm gonna add one, which for me was an aha moment when we've had this, conversation between us, and you showed me these numbers. I consider myself a numbers guy. I have no problems with numbers, right? But for me, the cash flow numbers are a bit more difficult to manage, especially if you have kids, if you have a business like I do. I built a business from the ground up and all of that. But when we sat down, when we went through my numbers, I did exactly what Julie is showing you guys. We've done with me, right? I looked at all those numbers and I'm gonna get back fantastic. But then there was one number there, which for me was the number, which was, this is literally your out-of-pocket commitment per week.
Yeah. So let's do that. That's so beautiful. Oh, guys, so check this out.
So just
no,
back,
I'm gonna go there.
It's $1 million debt or asset, but let's call it debt, right? You get $1 million debt, which actually costs you $200 a week.
Exactly right.
That's that
because
was the summary of.
See, if it was your house and you paying $1 million alone, is a lot more than that. But if you have the other two partners, oh, what if they take negative gearing away? What if this? What if that? The software can simulate the whole lot.
Yeah.
So guys, what I want to do now is this. The team is going to put this link right now into the text. Now, some of you are on your phone, some of you on your laptop. What I'm actually going to do is this. If you are a Bravo client, okay, if you have migrated here, I want you to know we are on a mission to create multimillionaires. Why? A wealthy nation needs wealthy individuals. And the truth is this, if we help people to become richer, guess what? We're going to have richer friends. So what I'm doing right now is I'm copying the link. So Pedro is putting the link in there. Madhu is putting the link on the other platform. What I'm going to do right now is this. I'm going to open a new window here. In my case, because my software has some significant AI in it, I'm going to go in a cognitive, here we go. And now I'm in. If you are a Bravo client, no fees. What I want you to know is this. This is gratitude for your business. with Bravo. Welcome to Australia. This very link is designed for you to share it with your accountant. So there's no hiding, there's no weird. Here we go. So now, let's just say, Jonathan, you are here. Welcome. Alice, you're welcome to Australia. You just arrived. Now, together. Look, it will take less than 3 minutes. Okay? I would like to invite you to come in with me right into this right now. Okay? And putting on your data. Right? Check this out. The reason why I want to do this with you tonight is because you can go home tonight. You are already home. Right? You can go to bed tonight knowing what your numbers are doing. So, how old are you? Right? 50. What's the income on your household? So, if you're single, it's just yours, husband, wife, team. We're going to say, let's just say for argument's sake, 200,000. Okay? Now, how much have you saved right now? Let's just say you have saved right now 89,000. Your superannuation, you're not in the country for very long. So let's just say you got 60 grand on your super. Yeah. Total amount of managed funds, I haven't invested in shares or anything like that. Personal debt outside your home, you may have a $5,000 debt somewhere. Are you single, married? So let's just go de facto here for the time being. What you start to notice now is the software will just take some basic numbers from you. And in one moment right now, I want to retire, Julio, in 20 years from now. How much would you like to retire on? I would like to retire on 150K. Got it? Oh, we're done. And we're done. So how much is your own home? If you have a house, put the value of the house there. If you don't, it's zero. So let's just say your house, for argument's sake, right now is what, $900,000? Yep. The investment, no, I don't have any property investments at this point. Okay. Zero. Yeah. Accept the cookies. Now, it took me less than 2 minutes. If you to drive to your accountant, financial advisor, it will take you an hour in traffic and a fee. Watch this thing go. The moment I press this button, it will create 3 timelines. You will know what happens for you if you do nothing. Continue as you are. Possible now, and the chain reaction. So right now, if these were your numbers and you keep working, you'll be worth $1.2 million in 20 years. I don't think this is good. What's possible for you right now? You could buy a property investment right now. Do you know that? Now, back to your point, just to close this thing. If I was to do it, this is all available to you right now. Right now, you can go. If this person was to buy a house, it cost them $64 a week. No. Yes. No. Yes. The software doesn't know who you are. Share it with your accountant. Share it with your financial planner. Tell them to give us a call if they disagree with anything. Everything is in writing. This is the legacy of Jada. And so if you did a research, 50% of Australians' richest people were not born here.
No.
Migrants. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So guys, just for the sake of going back to the presentation itself, right? Let me just run a couple of things by you here and say this to you right now. And here we go. So from this current slide, just back to the presentation. Everybody's back with me. Can you share this slide, guys? On the left here, that's the chain reaction, houses that buy houses. On the right here, we are sick of meeting good brokers. Everybody knows a good broker. Every single person knows a good broker. Oh, Jimmy got money. Mary got money. Look, man, forget about good brokers. You want an excellent broker. An excellent broker is one who's going to get you out of debt fast. So that's the right. Again, take a photo of this, take a screen print of this, and you say to your broker, I want one of those. And if your broker doesn't understand this graph right here on the right of the picture, give us a call. Okay? We will even teach your broker what to do. What I want you to know right now is we have an incredible finance team. Our finance team is led by Michael right now, and we have access to over 90 banks in Australia. In order for us to close the evening, as we approach lending time, right? What I want to say to you is this. This is our business. We will partner up with you regardless of your numbers. Michelle said something really powerful. If you're not ready yet, it's just a matter of time. The software will actually tell you when you'll be ready. If you punch the numbers right now, right, the software can actually, and we will work with you. Oh, I want to buy my own house. Yep. I want to buy this or that. No problemo. We will help you. So first part is education. And we are the only company in Australia that can give CPD points to doctors for attending to our finance education processes. Then I'll give you the software. The software, as I said many times, is designed for you to get ahead in life, share with your accountant. Then my business sources properties for people and sources finances for people. And now I'm just going to finish the presentation. If you want, all you want is have your finances analyzed and will get you out of debt. Once again, you can use this QR code here. And I want to now explain to you my business model. I do not sell houses. I buy them. Today, we have the words buyer's agent. JDL is the grandfather of the concept. We have been buying houses for people for 30 years. We have clients that have bought 16 properties through our platform. So what we do is we take the client on, we put all the numbers together, then we go to the marketplace, we teach you how to find the best properties in Australia. That's what we do. And then we're going to source them, right? So guys, all I want to say to you is this: the richer you become, the more you become our clients. Now, what I want to do is just quickly show you the results. I'm now going to integrate everything I have said, right? For some of you that arrived right now, I think somebody just arrived 2 moments ago. So welcome to the presentation, okay? And I'm just going to bring this baby home now, right? So if this was a flight, the captain would be saying, cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Yeah.
Right? Guys, let's have a look. This is a real transition of a client for us. The client arrived in JDL at 2011, okay? And the cash flow was $27 a week. How did it work? So they showed up to an event just like this. They did the software just like this. Their income back then was 210. We then used the equity they had in their own home, yeah? And by the time we finished what I just showed you, that first property cost them $46 a week for the first property. Then what happened is this: they purchased their first property for $285,000. They borrowed $299. So they borrowed for the property and the cost, stamp duty, solicitors fees, cancel rates, insurances, right? So then is the rent, okay? And then is the interest rates at 7.5%. And then they got back 11. Look at the debt reduction. $11,000 tax-free, baby, right? Okay? So the depreciation 11, tax refund, 9,000, $46 a week. Division 43, Division 40, and the results. This is the Tax Act. And people keep calling me, oh, what about negative gearing? You buy brand new houses, game is at play, right? Some of you may have some other questions about old houses, new houses. We're not going to cover this tonight. Get in touch with us and we'll cover whatever it is that you want to know, okay? So he's brand new properties, paper loss created, ATO refund taxes, refund tax on home loans, and then we get your house paid very early. So the rent went from $285 to $350. Guess what? We bought another house. The next house was $425, but the next house was only $21. No way. Yes way. Let's just keep going, Troy. Basically, what you can see here is property number 3. Why? Because the debt, by the time you have 3 property investments, all the money you get back goes into paying the debt on the original home, being your own home. Once your own home is paid for, we start paying the first property investment and keep driving the debt reduction down. So this is what the software will show you how to do, right? And what I want to say to you is this is a 42% compound return. Welcome to Australia. That's why the software is designed to be shared with your financial planner, accountant, whoever you bring. Okay? So their own home, ladies and gentlemen, got paid in 15 years other than 30. We saved them 14.8 years. The more you invest, less tax you pay. The less tax you pay, the more you drive your debt down. Welcome to Australia. And just here's a scenario just to finish the comparison. If they did nothing, and the fact that you were here, we had 100 people registered for tonight. Only a percentage of them show up. Do you know why? Because the hypnosis already took care of them. Pareto rule, I just mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. In any population in the Western world, 20% of the people hold the wealth. But if you really look at that 20%, Pareto rule happens again. Out of that 20%, 8% of that people holds all the wealth. My job, our conversation tonight is to get you into the original 20 or the first 20%. How do you do it? You have no mercy on your inefficiencies, bottom line. So guys, if they had never come to visit JDL, okay, for $46 a week, here are all the assumptions we use in the model, okay? And this is who we are. We're a bunch of immigrants. This is a dinner, a JDL dinner, a bunch of clients, not one single one born in Australia. They're all multimillionaires, right? So now, just in order to finish the conversation, I saw some of the questions coming through before. We answered them during the presentation, but if you have any other questions, now's the time. Let's just ask another Q&A. Do you have any questions for us?
And while they put the questions there, and I want to make this point very clear as well, guys. All of you are very smart, and this conversation might have felt a little bit overwhelming, but it doesn't matter. You need to get to know your numbers. Even if you haven't invested in any property yet or have purchased your own property, you gotta know what the numbers look like to begin with.
Yeah. Look, let me address that. If you're here tonight or you're watching this video anytime in the next 12 months, we will honor Bravo. I'm happy to send to you the training. It's called the Golden Parts. Training we give to accountants. It's not complex that you won't follow. You will follow, okay? If it becomes overwhelming, it's actually me. I got 30 accountants in the room, and I said, these are the things that your clients need to know. I would invite you to watch that. If you want to start tonight, knowing what's possible for you, just go in the software and play with it. Such consultation, if you're to go to a financial advisor, to an accountant, just to sit with your numbers and give you some responses on it, you'll be investing anywhere between $800 to $2,000 to $3,000 in fees. Have it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Pedro, do I have any questions at this point coming through? Okay, guys. First question that comes tonight is this. Negative gearing, yes, only for brand new properties. The law has passed, only brand new properties. Now, the software can do the calculations for you, right? So I am an advocate of brand new property. I've been all along. Why? Because you pay stamp duty only on the land. What you save in stamp duty is the amount of money that you can use to pay for while the house is being built. Okay? Right. Any other ones? Yeah. I'll go for this one. This one. Yeah, I like this one. If you're single, yes, you can do it with a friend, a relative. Yes, you can do it. Listen, we have done plenty of strategies for people like it's better to get into the market than do nothing. right? So if you say, "Oh, I'm single," and I get it, some of you are already single, okay, and no intention, and we get this more than ever now. There's plenty of people in their 30s that think, "I want to move. Can I do something?" Yeah, you can do it together. You can do it with a relative, a friend, and something like that. Okay. Now, also this one, will be the last one for tonight. If you are, the question is, should I bring money from overseas? This is my approach as far as that question is concerned. If you know that you will live in Australia, right? You're not going back home. Australia will be home. Then my approach would be, you have money overseas, and that if that money was here, could I help you to reduce your tax and build an asset base here? I would do that. Okay? But you got to have a look at the cost of the money when you sell the assets there to bring it over here. Again, we can have this conversation offline. Okay? And any other questions coming through? We're good now? All right. Guys, it's been an incredible 7:17.
I think we
Some
I think
2
we did
minutes
it.
late.
I think we
Right?
did it. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All right.
Thank you everyone for showing up, for participating, for asking the questions as well. I think that's, this is a conversation, isn't it,
Yeah.
Julio? We've always wanted to do this. It's not so much about a monologue, but it's about, exchanging information
Yeah.
here.
For those of you that are in Instagram, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, I don't know where your clients are.
Everywhere.
Welcome for tonight. Those of you on Facebook, good to see you. And on Zoom, good to see you. Everybody have a great night. We will see you on the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Had to go, guys.